When it comes to strategic competition with China, the United States is actually in a far more vulnerable position than most Americans realize, and China is a much more capable and determined rival than many people are willing to admit. In many ways, America has been lulled into a false sense of security because of its long-held superpower status. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 major areas where China has already pulled ahead of the United States. Even though the United States is still the world's largest economy in terms of nominal GDP, the picture changes completely when you look at GDP based on purchasing power parity. On that front, China has already overtaken the US. China's PPP GDP has crossed $40 trillion, while the US stands at around $30 trillion. On top of that, China is now the world's manufacturing powerhouse. In 2024, Chinese manufacturing output reached about $4.66 trillion, almost double the United States, which was just $2.91 trillion. When it comes to exports, China is again number one with over $3.5 trillion in global exports, compared to just $2 trillion from the US. China also holds the world's largest foreign exchange reserves, roughly $3 trillion as of August 2025. In contrast, America's reserves are much lower. And let's not forget e-commerce. China's e-commerce market is massive, about $3.45 trillion, much bigger than the US, which comes in at just $1.38 trillion. China dominates steel production too. In 2024, it produced roughly 1 billion metric tons of steel, making up 54% of the global total, while the US produced only 79 million metric tons. Between 2003 and 2007, the US led China in 60 out of 64 frontier technologies. But between 2019 and 2023, the situation completely reversed. China now leads in 57 out of 64 key technologies, while the US leads in only 7. China has made massive investments in 5G infrastructure. As of May 2025, China had deployed 4.5 million 5G base stations, giving it far broader and more powerful 5G coverage than the United States. By June 2025, China also led the world in 6G patent applications, holding about 40.3% of all global 6G patents. China is now the world's largest holder of AI patents, with a 60% global share. China is also years ahead in quantum communication. It launched the world's first quantum satellite, Meteus, in 2016, and established quantum encrypted communication over 2,000 kilometers between Beijing and Shanghai. In 2025, China extended quantum key distribution to cover 12,800 kilometers between Beijing and South Africa. When it comes to electric vehicles, China is the clear leader. In 2024, over 17 million EVs were manufactured worldwide, and 12.4 million of those rolled out of Chinese factories. China also leads in high-speed rail by a massive margin over the United States. The future of warfare is autonomous, and China is ahead here as well. China is the world's largest drone manufacturer. The US has advanced capabilities, but China produces drones on a scale that far exceeds America, and scale matters in a war. China is also the world's largest industrial robotics market. In 2024, it installed over 200,000 new industrial robots, while the US installed only about 34,000. Critical minerals and rare earths, which are essential for US defense and clean energy technologies, are overwhelmingly controlled by China. China dominates nearly the entire rare earth mining and processing supply chain, and this industrial advantage shows up clearly in naval shipbuilding as well. China is now surpassing the United States in shipbuilding capacity, rapidly expanding the size and capability of its fleet. China operates the world's largest navy, with 234 warships compared to the US Navy's 219. More importantly, China's shipbuilding capacity is over 23 million tons, while the US produces less than 100,000 tons, a staggering 232 times difference. Chinese hypersonic missile technology is also ahead. Multiple Pentagon reports identify China as the world's leading developer and deployer of hypersonic weapons. China has become the first country in history to surpass 1,000 gigawatts of solar power capacity. In 2024 alone, China added more solar capacity than the rest of the world combined. In the first half of 2025, China installed 210 gigawatts of new solar capacity, way more than the US's entire 178 gigawatts at the end of 2024. And it's not just one stage. China controls the whole global solar supply chain. China dominates production of wind and solar components, manufacturing 92% of solar modules and 82% of wind turbines. As of April 2025, for the first time, wind and solar made up over 26% of China's power generation. When it comes to education, especially in STEM, China's numbers are unmatched. China produces about 3.57 million STEM graduates a year, far outpacing the United States. By 2025, China will graduate more than 77,000 PhDs in STEM fields annually, while the US produces only about 40,000. China also leads in innovation indicators. According to WIPO, Chinese inventors filed nearly 1.8 million patent applications in 2025, almost 3 times as many as the United States. This clearly shows China's rapidly expanding research and development capabilities.